What is up, Pats Nation? It is Patriots Global here with another video, and now with breaking news, Odell Beckham Jr. is now a Cleveland Brown. I'm not joking, you heard that correctly. The Cleveland Browns have somehow landed a trade that will send all-pro wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr., one of the best wide receivers in the league, to Cleveland Browns to play for Baker Mayfield and reunite with his former friend, Jarvis Landry. Now, as for the deal, the Browns are sending their first-round pick over. I believe it's pick number 17, along with a second-round pick and safety Jabril Peppers. Really, this is just an unbelievable trade that I can't believe actually happened. Odell Beckham Jr. Trade rumors have been surfacing for a very long time. It happened last offseason, and then we all know the Patriots made the strongest push out of all teams, and then pretty much the Giants got very scared, locked up, signed Odell Beckham Jr. to this huge deal, signing a 5-year contract worth $90 million, who is expected to make roughly $17 million for 2019 and then $14.2 million in 2020. Somehow the Browns are just a team that can do it. They have so many nice pieces that they added. They have a franchise quarterback. They have like $100 million in cap that they were able to use this offseason to rebuild their team. A team that already had a lot of talent on it and then had nice draft capital. Now, obviously, for the Browns, this is going to take a pretty nice chunk of their money away, and what also gets taken away is, again, their first-round pick and a second-round pick, so their draft capital is not going to definitely be as high as it was before. They're not going to be able to look towards the draft to be able to really rebuild their team, but what the Browns have going on is something really special. Now, as we all know, my team is the Patriots, so I think the begging question comes is, does this even affect the Patriots? And yes, it does. It affects the Patriots in actually two different ways. First one being that the Patriots officially cannot trade for Odell Beckham Jr. Again, last offseason, we heard that the Patriots were making a huge push to trade for OBJ, and were actually the front-running team to be able to actually land him. Patriots then tried to trade for a premium wide receiver at the trade deadline this past season, but failed to do so. Reports came out that they were looking to again add a premium wide receiver to their wide receiver group and really vamp it. They already missed out on AB. They missed out on guys like Adam Humphries. The market for wide receivers is quickly closing for the Patriots. So one of the biggest things here is really that the Patriots have yet another option taken away from them in order to vamp up this wide receiver group. Now, the next way that this affects the Patriots is actually for next season, and that is because the Patriots do play the Cleveland Browns. It has not been set when, obviously, because NFL seasons are not determined exactly, but the Patriots will play the Cleveland Browns next season, which means they will be going up against Odell Beckham Jr. I mean, they re-signed Breshad Perriman. They have Jarvis Landry, and they have Odell Beckham Jr. Now, how they're going to stop all three of those wide receivers beats me. So it just kind of shows exactly, well, not exactly, but it just shows a good idea on how the Patriots defense is going to need to look, and how the Patriots are going to really have to vamp it up and pretty much focus on this defense, especially the secondary, in order to be able to stop guys like this and ultimately win games. Now, as for the Giants, they get a safety back in Jabril Peppers, and obviously the Giants need as much help as they get, especially defensive-wise, especially in that secondary, and they had Landon Collins already leave in free agency, so safety was one of the higher needs for the Giants, so at least they already started to, in some ways, meet the standards. Now, I definitely wouldn't call Peppers one of the best safeties in the league, but he definitely is a higher end safety up there in the league. A guy who definitely has made some very nice plays. I remember watching the Browns game, and he was a guy who stuck out to me both when his name was called and even when his name wasn't called. And I think that's something that the Giants are really just trying to do, is that they are really trying to rebuild their team. Trading OBJ, they're getting a pretty good safety. They're getting nice draft capital for this year's draft to be able to build for the future, get younger guys, get more talented, hopefully, guys. Although they take a hit, a very big hit, not just at the wide receiver position, but when it comes to their offense in general. I mean, when you think of the Giants, you think of Odell Beckham Jr., and that's something you can't do anymore. Beckham is a 3-time Pro Bowl selection. He finished 4 of his 5 NFL seasons with 1,000 yards or more receiving. And I really do think that pairing him up with a young and talented Baker Mayfield is just going to be dangerous. Now, it's going to come down to actually how they coach and how that coaching staff actually does in Cleveland. But Cleveland is without a doubt a team that I say to watch. It just all depends on how they develop and use the tools that they have ultimately conducted this offseason. But that is it for today's video. Odell Beckham Jr., a blockbuster trade between the New York Giants and the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns have done it again. Don't know how they always do this. But what are your guys' thoughts on this trade? Let me know in the comments below. Also, make sure you guys like and subscribe. This helps me out very, very, very much. Make sure you guys share this video with everybody who knows I'm going to the Patriots Global family. And other than that, I will catch you guys in another video.